welcome to the Irish Arsenal GOONER podcast. It's Tuesday, the 23rd of August. I'm your host, Jonathan Giles, as always. I'm joined this week by my regular guests and season ticket holders, Martin Stoneville, Eamon Donnelly, Carl Osborne, and a return to the show for this season, John Meany. How are you, lads?
Evening.
Good evening.
Thanks, mate. Good evening.
Evening, Jonathan. Evening, lads. Just finishing off a game of bingo here. I'm trying to get to the pitch of it. Jack, house. Beating to it there. Good evening, everybody, and good to see you.
A lively start to the show, as always, by Eamon. On this week's show, we'll be reviewing our 3-0 away success to Bournemouth and previewing, of course, our next fixture, which is at home to Fulham at 5:30 against Sky Sports Premier League. You can catch us on Spotify and on the Dublin Arsenal YouTube channel, as always. Last week's winner to the quiz was Sam Henderson, who answered correctly. So what does he win, Martin?
Dublin Arsenal Fan pack. Just a few stickers, a few pins, few paraphernalia. So we're going to send it out once he comes back to us with his address. And then, so we have another question today, I presume.
We do indeed, another one, which we'll be giving you when we preview our Fulham fixture. Good stats on episode 3, Martin. 143 views, 10 likes, and 822 subscribers. So well up on episode 2, aren't we?
Yeah, well up on episode 2. We're still missing 178 subscribers to make the 1,000 and give away our Martinelli jersey. So anyone who hasn't subscribed yet, just press that button, click the bell, so you always know when we are on live.
Hit that bell. That is the secret to making us famous.
Exactly.
But as he said just before we came on the show as well, just to give the listeners how well we're doing. You were saying 5,000 hours, isn't it, Martin?
5,000 view hours, which is phenomenal. So people are watching this thing, and hopefully we can keep it going.
Yeah, and we thank everyone that does listen and views, and please leave comments in the YouTube section as well, what you'd like added and what you like about the show, and what we can add to it or dislike. We're always open to making the show better. So thanks for listening, and thanks for taking part, of course, in our quiz as well. You can catch us in the River Bar in Dublin City Centre. It's the official supporters club of Dublin Arsenal, so you can catch us there on match days. And it was rocking, of course, on Saturday, and that's where we begin our match review, as always. 3-0 away success to against Bournemouth. Martin Odegarrd, 2 goals in the first 10 minutes, and second goal of his short career so far for William Saliba, who's been absolutely on fire for since the start of the season, and it's been well worth the wait. And we've been waiting quite a long time, I think we'll all agree, for him to come to the Arsenal. And those 2 loan spells at Nice and Marseille definitely matured him, and what a prospect for the future. Of course, top of the league, 9 points, best start in 18 years. I think it was the Invincible season, going way back in 03-04. I thought the performance was pretty faultless, really. I thought Jesus caused the Bournemouth backline so many problems. I think we'll all agree that Bournemouth away could have been tricky. It would have been tricky over the past few years, we found, but two early goals killed the atmosphere in the ground, which was vital. I thought we could have added more. That was the only thing. Could have been maybe 5 or 6, nil. But I'll take 3-0 any day. A clean sheet for Ramsey. He had very little to do, but when he was called down, which was the keeper more header, he saved. He's been really, when he's been called on, he's come into action for us on numerous occasions. So I was quite happy. I thought we played really well all around the pitch, and we move on to Fulham. John, since it's your first show back for the new season, how do you see the performance?
What a good year. 3 games, 3 wins. Complete opposite to 12 wins. The changes have been remarkable. Jesus is phenomenal running with the ball. Now, I don't think I've seen a lot of members but his dribbling ability scared the shit out of the fans. He's almost unplayable. You add that to the movement, the work rate of Saka and Martinelli and Xhaka and Odegaard behind them. We're winning the ball so far up the pitch. We're on the front foot constantly Saturday. Because, as you said, when you look at this, narrowly offside with Jingle in the second half, and their goalkeeper put a lot of good saves. So a really, really powerful performance, and one I want to see repeated time and time again.
Yeah, good performance from the Republic of Ireland connection in terms of born Mark Travers. He made a lot of good saves, didn't he, John?
He made some really good saves to keep it at 3-0, because the last 20 minutes we couldn't shoot him.
Yeah.
It was a really, really good team performance, and it's great that we could make those substitutions to when we did and bring on those fresh legs, because we're going to have really serious man management with time, and hopefully not too many of our main players will be playing 90 minutes. If we keep going 3-0 up after an hour, that's fantastic. Rotate the squad, give them all game time. It's going to be very important going forward.
Yeah. Eamon, how did you see the game on Saturday?
Well, we're 31 points from safety, Jonathan. So, you know.
In Arteta, we trust, I take it.
We're 31 points from safeties. That's always my... You build the foundations of the house first. If everybody listened to me, Jonathan, everything would be okay. Right?
So frustrating.
I'll tell you now what I thought of it. And again, I watched it in full because I was actually traveling to do a gig on Saturday evening. I got to see the last half hour in a place in Athlone. But having looked at it back, I think it was the most complete performance of the three. There was connectivity in all the areas of the pitch, all the different sectors. The goalkeeper, the back line, the midfield, and the front players were all compact and connected. And also, the movement, it doesn't look much, but the dragging players out of position to open holes is something that has come on in leaps and bounds, you know. So there's none of this just passing in front of the opposition, hoping that a gap will appear. The players are working really hard to run between lines, drop out into pockets, open up spaces. And when one drops, the other goes. And I like that. So I was really, really, really pleased with that. I thought we played the game on our terms. We occupied the right spaces on the pitch. And there's a clear understanding. It's clear now that the players clearly understand what it is they're being asked to do, right? And I think the real gauge is, had I been watching the game live, and I know this because I had the commentary on it anyway in the car, it wasn't one of those 2-0 leads that you thought we were going to chuck away because of the back two. You just didn't think you were going to chuck it away. Johnny Giles, your namesake, always said, "Oh, this nonsense there. 2-0 is the worst lead in football." That's what he's saying to the BBC there. Well, if 2-0 is the worst lead in football, keep it at 1-0 then. You know, but I never felt it was going to be two. We were going to chuck it away. I think great credit is due to Mikel and his coaching staff for where we've landed. But all of that being said, again, I said it last week, a couple of games we're going to put our foot in potholes. I think this is going to be a very competitive league this year. You look at what Leeds did to Chelsea. Look at what Man United did to Liverpool, right? Look at the way Newcastle went at Man City. I think it's going to be a competitive league, you know? But when we do kind of trip up, in the same way, like humble in victory, gracious in defeat, no histrionics, please. I think that the focus of the players straight away, as Zinchenko said it after the game, doesn't matter about Bournemouth. Next game is Fulham. You know, that's the way it's got to be. So all around, you know, even the greatest harbingers of doom would have to be pleased at how we started the season. And I think it was the most complete performance.
Yeah, it was excellent. And Zinchenko's reaction to when Saliba scored was brilliant as well. Yeah, you take a lot more shots on target, in my opinion. Carl, how did you see the game on Saturday?
I think you know, I thought it was going to be a trickier game than it actually was. As a collective, we played so well together. I thought, you know, just the way the players interchanged, the back five looked solid. The interchange between Zinchenko into midfield, I thought that caused them a lot of problems. And what I like to see is just that we always seem to have we change something up every game at the moment this season, and it's just causing. It's almost like people can't prepare for us. And that's the way I'm sort of seeing it. Last week against Leicester, it was Xhaka turning up in all different positions. This time, it was Zinchenko. Who I thought, you know, it's nice. It's nice to watch a game and struggle to find a man of the match. I think Gabriel Jesus is kind of getting you know, he's winning a lot of the man of the matches at the moment, but there are so many players that stood out for me. You've got Saka, Odegaard, Saliba, Odegaard, and Zinchenko. But they were all up there for me. Because Zinchenko at first half, that was some performance. That was, and you know, I'd watch him, and he's not your typical left back. He fits in that midfield really well. He caused so many problems, and then Xhaka and Partey are just going about their business. And Xhaka had another great game as well. So, just all around the pitch, it's the second time I've said it in 2 weeks. It's a collective performance, and I'm just really, you know, I am looking forward to seeing what we're going to do against one of the big six. You know, I think we're going to sort of test ourselves at Old Trafford in a couple of weeks, certainly. But yeah, all-round collective performance. Yeah, fantastic to see. And another shout to your away fans as well, because they absolutely were rocking. We seem to turn these away games, and you know, I know a few people that go regularly. I wish I could go more, but they were rocking the whole game. And I don't know about you guys, but I went to bed singing Tequila. I woke up in the morning singing Tequila, or Saliba, should we say. And it's still going around in my head this morning. So yeah, so well done to them as well.
Yes, Tottenham. Ben White's movement for the second goal in particular as well, the way he kept going up the pitch and the 1-2 at Saka and then laying out for Odegaard for the second was really, you know, he's really becoming a big player as well, Ben White. Martin, how did you see the game on Saturday?
Yeah, we've seen it in the Riverburn, as you said. Like we were full house for that, which was great to see. I think it's the first time we've seen against like Bournemouth, like, you know, to have so many people in the house. I can't wait to see what it's like against Spurs. We probably have to get a few more chairs, I think. But yeah, it was a great game, and as Eamon said, I think it was the first time we didn't have to worry about them. It was kind of like a relaxed game to watch, so you didn't have in any kind of point of the game, I think, we looked at like we're gonna lose that, so which was great to see. It's just a shame about that Jesus' goal was disallowed because his big toenail was like a little bit over the line. It's just a shame that these kind of goals are disallowed, like, you know. But look, that's what it is. I think he would have deserved the goal because the way he played is definitely a thing for. But yeah, as Carl said, like that song, you know, still stuck in my head, like, you know, and this Saliba thing on it. But what a player he is! He's 21 years old, and it's just like a rock at the moment. So I hope he can stay like that, you know, like, in our defense is going to stay solid, and yeah, see what's coming up against other players, other teams, you know, what we're going to face now, especially now against Fulham, and then coming up to United and all these games to come. So yeah, 3 down, 3 wins, 9 goals. Okay, top of the league. That's all you can say. So like we're all happy. It's a complete difference from last year. Let's hope we don't reverse it from last year and go in the other direction. But I don't think that's going to happen.
No, it's been a great first 3 fixtures, and I have to say I was very optimistic when I saw the fixture list that our first 5 we could take a possible 15 from it, and we have there already. Considering I said Arteta out nearly most of the second half of that season, it's amazing the way things can turn around. No, I can see it's definitely we're going to stay up in the top 4 for the season, and you can quote me on that come May.
Jonathan, just you know, in case you missed something, we were very, very good for the second half of the season. until we got crucial injuries to to Tommy Asu, Tierney, Thomas Partey,
and White.
And we didn't have the squad that we have now. So I think your crusade might have been slightly just ill-judged, maybe. I'll leave it at that. Thank you and good night. That's all, folks.
I think what's more refreshing is seeing Liverpool.
For John's sake, I'm going to stop there. Right.
I was very confident going into this September 4th game against United, but after seeing them last night, I'm not very confident now. It's amazing what one result can turn, but
against a really, really bad Liverpool game.
Liverpool, they're really missing Sadio Mane. I think that was a real mistake letting him go.
I think they are, Jonathan, but I also think that...
I think they've reached, to be honest, Eamon, I think they've reached their 5 or 6 seasons with that team, and I think it's starting to show that intensity that they play.
I wouldn't write them off, but by any manner. What strikes me about them is that they're middle three without Thiago Cantara. Their legs are a bit shot, and they don't do things as quickly as they were doing them 2 or 3 years ago. And they're taking pace out of the team with Mane. So
big time. I think it was a big mistake letting him go. I think he wanted to go. It shows what one player can bring. The pressure's on Salah really to deliver, and also Darwin Nunez. But let's forget about Liverpool. It's great the way we're top of the league, because this time last year it was doom and gloom. 3 defeats in a row. Looked like Arteta was going out the fire door, but thankfully they've stuck by him. The plan is in place, and we move on. Actually, before we move on to Fulham, my man of the match myself for Saturday would have been William Saliba. I thought he was 73 passes he made, and they were all 100%. John, who was your man of the match?
I'll go for his partner, Gabriel. I think he's cool, calm, collected, sweeping everything up. He's the perfect partner at the moment for Saliba. He's allowing him to shine, and because he's been so good, Zinchenko was not playing left back. He's playing so far forward, and he can do that because Gabriel is just mopping everything down that left hand side, and he's making it look easy. He's not standing out, but he's making it look easy. So I'm going to go Gabriel. He's allowing Zinchenko to go forward and dictate games, and he's been super.
Yeah, 100%. Eamon, who was your man of the match?
Zinchenko.
Yeah.
Because everything he did smacked of a competent, comfortable footballer who understands exactly what's required. I think he was outstanding, as were most of the team. But I'll go with Zinchenko on this one.
It's brilliant as well. Just before we move on to Martin and Carl for their man of the match, is how easily Jesus and Zinchenko have gelled into a team. It's like they played for us all the time. How good Guardiola done, bring them on to the next level in their careers, but how Arteta's even brought that on even further, I think, in the short space of time. It's brilliant to watch, and I think their progression can only be more exciting for Arsenal fans. Jesus didn't score, but by hell did he cause the back three of Bournemouth problems. Carl, who was your man of the match?
I'm going with Eamon on that one. It's Zinchenko. That first half performance is as good as any I've seen this season. And his reaction to Saliba's goal as well. But no,
the question is, will Zinchenko take shots like Saliba?
You know what? I'm looking at Man City's bench now, seeing who we can sign before the end of the window. Because if we're going to pick up 2 like that, let's keep signing them. Let's keep signing Man City substitutes. It's great.
Martin, your man of the match?
Yeah, I would go with Zinchenko as well. Beside that, Odegaard scored 2 goals, and he would have a shot for that as well, I presume. But yeah, he just really, for me, what Zinchenko does is kind of, he freed up Xhaka and he freed up the front in front of them, and he's secure as well the back. So it's just it just gives us a new dimension, and that's exactly what he does, and for that he's great. And yeah, he's an ultimate professional. He is a winning mentality, and he shows that, and it's just great to see. And like I actually think like he'd probably be, for me, is the buy of the season, because I know like Jesus is like, you know, is good really thinking for, but like I think this is really a link which we were missing for a long time, and it's gonna be very hard like to take him out of that position, isn't it? Like for Tierney to go back in there,
Yeah,
it's gonna
great
be
to have though, isn't it?
it's great to have, you know, but
Yeah.
but it's great. But another thing about Saliba's goal is when in the interview with Arteta, he said, you know, like, did you expect that from Saliba to happen? So yeah, he does it every day in training. with a smile in his face, you know. But yeah, no, look, it's not even his strongest foot, like, you know. So
He's
yeah,
like a new
it's just great
signing
to see.
though, isn't he, Saliba?
Ah, yeah, 100%. Like, you know?
He's a new signing, even though he's been signed 2 or 3 seasons back. He's just fitted in to the Arsenal way now, or Arteta's way even. But
and you probably can see like the difference between like Nuno and Saliba. You know, like Nuno is getting hopefully now the same treatment over there. Like, hopefully he's going to come back a better player. But it's just a criticism for him to go away for 2 years. You know, and it just shows you now what we actually achieved with that. And if anybody ever asks why we're sending players on loan, that's your answer.
Yeah.
So that's exactly what it is. And look, at long may it continue. It's going to be a tussle between White and Tomiyasu now for the right back. So we'll see how it goes. But it's great to have these options. We didn't have these options last year, and if we would have had that options in the last 10 games, we would have made top 4, even probably top 3, because we would have pipped Chelsea as well. But anyway, that's gone. We're now there. 3 points, 3 games won. That's all we want. And the next game is Fulham, and that's always as far as we can look at.
Yeah, it's been a brilliant start to the season, I have to say. And we're going out expecting to win now, which other seasons we were dreading going to places like Bournemouth and Palace. We're actually expecting to go there and win. And that's the difference now. And as Eamon said last week in the show, there's going to be plenty of games for the players like Tomiyasu and Tierney with the Europa League commitments, and you know they're going to get their chances as the season goes on. So it's great to have that headache of having 2 players in a position now, and who do I pick from, where other seasons was, oh, if one gets injured, we're in trouble here, you know that. So yeah, definitely a great headache to have.
I was thinking about that like only this week. But how good was Tomiyasu last season?
Yeah.
And you know, there's no point rushing him back. If we're playing all right like we are, we can do what we can do. Because Tomiyasu was such one of the standout players for me last season, and same with Tierney. If there's no rush to bring him back and we're playing like this, let's just let him get fully fit, bring him in. Because like I say, plenty of games to go, as Eamon said already.
Here. Long may continue to have them headache problems, especially with the World Cup break coming up and all. Yeah, it could come into play big time. We move on to the Fulham game, which is on Saturday at 5:30. It says a home fixture, of course, live on Sky Sports. Before we go into the preview of that game, this week's question relating to this, and we've had many an Arsenal player that has changed to Fulham over the years, and this week's question relates to one of them. Can you name the Portuguese winger who made 25 appearances for Arsenal between 97 and 99, who also played for Fulham from 2000 to 2007? And the hint that I'll give is he also played for Southampton and West Ham.
Dead Snake is the other hint.
And Martin's going to give that special prize of which, Martin?
Well, our fan pack. Absolutely amazing fan pack. Also available in the river on the match day.
I like the way we got that plug in there as well. First person to answer in the comment box on the YouTube channel, of course, wins the quiz. Connor Simpson and Sam Henderson have been lucky to get their hands on that fan pack. Only exclusive.
Well, what we're actually going to do is not going to be the first person. It's going to be whoever's going to answer. We're going to have a draw. Since there was only one person answering every time, it was easy. But
I think to put that out there, actually, just because you see the first person to answer doesn't mean that others can't answer in the comment box. Yeah, because I think the people think that once that person answers, that's the end of the quiz for them. No, it's
exactly.
it'll be a draw. If we can get more than one person, it'd be great. excluding ourselves, of course.
And as well, leave some questions for us in the comment box if you have them. We're gonna answer them next week.
Yeah, actually, yeah, quite, yeah, relating to the fixture of the week. Yeah, that's quite good.
Yeah.
And I hope the quiz questions are just an added extra to the show to keep you listening. I'll give that question again at the end of the show as well. So that's this week's quiz question. We move on to Fulham, which is at home on Saturday. Our last meeting against them was April the 18th, 2021. It was still during the lockdown, so there was no fans. It was the 1-1 draw, and Ketty got the equaliser in the 97th minute after Fulham went ahead. Different Fulham team now, though. They're unbeaten as well this season. The last 3 games was their first game was the home game against Liverpool, 2-2 draw. Mitrovic scored twice. The away game was Wolves. Their second game, Mitrovic missed a penalty, and then in their most recent game was Brentford, where Reid, Pellegrini, and of course Mitrovic got the late winner. Bernd Leno could possibly play in that game, but they've got good players there. Fulham, Marco Silva's done a really good job with them, and I think Mitrovic will be the main player to stop. He's just one of those strikers where he's just awkward, strong, and really good with his head when he gets the right delivery, which they seem to be getting right in the first 3 games. They lie 7 at the moment, 5 points. But you'd assume the way we're playing at the moment, especially the home ultras we have, should kick us on nicely as well. I'm going for a 2-0 victory in this one. I think it'd be a tight game, but I'll go with a tight 2-0 win. John, how do you see the game going?
I think we will win. I think it'll be. Mitrovic, he seems to be coming back to the Premier League with a chip in his shoulder. Last time Fulham were up, he really struggled. Didn't make the team half the time. But that was in a really poor Fulham side. I think this Fulham side is a hell of a lot stronger. They're going to have a proper go at not just staying up or finishing in the top 10. And he is capable of causing trouble. And if we give Fulham any kind of possession whatsoever, he will give Gabriel and Saliba some work to do. I think we'll win. I think we'll win comfortably enough. But I won't be surprised if Fulham, causes a few problems. I think they're a far better outfit than they were last time we were up in the Premier League. You said 2-0. I'm going to go 3.
I think Mitrovic might even score. I'll probably even go 2-1, to be honest. Eamon, how do you see the game going on Saturday? It'd be a tough game, won't it, against Fulham?
Yeah, well, I watched Fulham the weekend. I watched it today, and the pressing was really good. They were quick around the place. They've a lot more about them than I thought they had. They were very good against. Was it Liverpool they played? Yeah.
Yeah, their
They
first
were
game of
very
the
good
season.
against them too. So, I think they'll probably run out of steam as the season goes on. But they're playing well and they are a danger. Mitrovic is on fire, they're getting the ball in good areas quickly. But I mean, we have better players than they have. Right?
Yeah.
So I'm going to the game.
Nice, yeah.
That used to be a bad omen, but it hasn't been that bad in recent times. We've won a lot more than we've lost, So I'm at a mod festival in Brighton.
Oh God.
So with John Melia's namesake, Sparky John, I have the pleasure of taking a train up from Brighton. I might actually meet you, Carl, if you're around.
Oh no, we'll do that. We'll definitely. I'll
Yeah,
make sure we're there.
absolutely. I'll be in the King's Head. I'm going to get the train up around from 2:00, So, that'll get to London. London Victoria at about 3. I'll be in for a few points. But I think we should win the game. But again, you see, if we're focused the way I think we should be, and the way I think we can be, we win that game. Unless there's a lot of circumstances that happen, like the sending off or something like that, But I'd be more inclined to call it a 2 or 3-1 rather than a 0. I think Fulham goals in them,
Especially with Bernd Leno, how do you think he'll fare out, Eamon? Do you think he'll want a point to prove, or you think he'll just be?
I think he's a very good goalkeeper, and he's such a professional that he'll just get on the next game. You know.
Yeah. Yeah, he had a good game against Brentford, actually, aside from the 2
Very
goals.
good.
Good stops, yeah.
The
fans have taken to him there as well, haven't they? Yeah.
He's a very good goalkeeper. I was one of the few that wasn't in meltdown when we chose him over Martinez.
No, I like him, yeah. I think he's commanding, yeah.
I think Martinez had a brilliant 15 games, but there was a reason why I think he struggled to nail down, a first-team break. But all of the clubs he went out on loan, he started off great, and then it didn't really work out for him.
Yeah.
And there was a big meltdown, and he's done quite well at Villa. But I think we did okay getting money for him and keeping Leno, and then getting Ramsdale in. I think, but a great time for Leno. He never moaned, he never sulked, he never spoke to the media, he never did any of that, and he absolutely has my best wishes, that's for sure.
I think as well, the game, the comeback game, this last game for us was Villa, wasn't it, away? And he made that save at the very end from the free kick, and you could see what it meant to him, and he stuck. He didn't moan at all. Like he was a cup game keeper, and we got knocked out and early on and late. But yeah, best of luck to him in his career, Fulham.
Just before you go on, I was just thinking, looking at the table the other day, I wonder what the feeling is over at West Ham. When they look at, and that's not a kind of a jive. I like the Orange, I do, because I love the chant they have. And when they're goading us, they think the best way to goad us, and I love this, is we hate Tottenham more than you. We hate Tottenham more. I mean, you have to say hats off to that, but I just wonder now what the atmosphere is like there, given that we experienced this last season, and we experienced a kind of a meltdown, and even though 2 of the first 3 games were Chelsea and Man City, they've had Man City, but they lost to Brighton the weekend, and they lost to Forest as well. I'd say it's getting a bit spiky over there.
Yeah.
Like Graham Potter would do a top job at West Ham. I think he's done a super job at Brighton. We have to score the goal, of course, West Ham. But the Europa League will be a big one. Carl, how do you see it going?
Yeah, Fulham are a very organised team. I think that's I've watched a few of the games on Match of the Day this season. They strike me as organised, and I think that's where Leno fits in perfectly with them, because he's not the sort of keeper that's going to play it out with his feet. He's a solid keeper, and I think it's going to be another tricky tie, but I expect us to win. We're at home. I've already put everything in one basket, saying it's going to be a fortress at the Emirates this season. So yeah, I think we're going to win. I'm going to go for I've already put money on 3-1. So let's see what happens there, and I'll buy you an extra pint, Eamon, if that comes in. I'll definitely make sure of that. 5:30 kickoff. So the Emirates was rocking last week with a 3 o'clock kickoff, a couple of hours extra drinking. So either going to be messy or loud.
Ozzy, if you're gonna meet me in the King's Head, don't wear rubber soles. They'll never leave the carpet. They'll never leave the carpet.
I'll be honest, David, this was my main concern about the weekend. I was worried about how I'm going to fare up in the King's Head, because it's a new face and all that. Because I've not been in there before, never been in there, it will be a first for me. But I'm looking forward to it.
It's a proper season ticket holders place, It's good.
Yeah, no, it'd be good. But you know what? There's one thing I am looking forward to seeing. It's how Gabriel and Saliba deal with Mitrovic, because they've not had that sort of threat really this season. Yeah. And I think that's going to be one hell of a watch. I'll be honest with you. I hope, I think I really want to see how Saliba fares up against him. I hope he gets the task of looking after Mitrovic, because then we'll see. I think it'll be a really good experience for him. But let's see what goes on. Organised side, I expect us to win 3-1. We're at home. We should be winning these games if we're going to finish in top 4. So yeah, let's go for it. They have had a good start to the season, no doubt. But let's hope that we can put an end to that, really.
Martin, how do you see the game going on Saturday?
Yeah, probably exactly the same. I put a 3-1 down as well. I just see that there is goals in Fulham, and I think that there might be one. And as I said, Mitrovic is definitely a danger for it. But I think we as Eamon said, if they're all concentrating and doing what they're doing, we shouldn't worry about this as much. I think we have a lot of firepower, and that's another change from last season, is that we are actually now able to 4 goals, you know, like we scored like 4, 3, 2. So, you know, we can score goals, and that helps us as well, like, you know, to relax a bit more at the back, and then we, even if they do score, like in the Leicester game, we can come back and turn up another notch. And I think that's another thing in Bournemouth. Like, we never went out of second gear in the second half then, and we could have scored more goals. And I think if they would have scored, we would have gone up a notch again. But anyway, I'm hoping for a clean sheet, but I just think it's going to be a 3-1. I hope Jesus is getting another few in at home, and see what it is. And hopefully, maybe it'll be one of the games that we are 3-0 up after an hour, and we can bring on a few of the other lads. I would love to see Vieira. He's on the bench, so let's hope we can go there and see the thing, and Eamon is holding his hand. No, but I hope that's that kind of way we can do, like, you know, like, and give the new lads as well a bit of a game time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You'd assume the way we're playing, you'd only see a home in there, but the evening games can be different as well, can't they? Because you've seen, you can get a picture from the 12:30 game, the 3 o'clock games. You can kind of know what you have to do, but when you're sitting on top of the table, it makes it a bit easier, of course. So we haven't had many times saying that. I can't remember when we were top last. It's been such a long time. I had to screenshot that on Saturday, just because it'd probably be the only memory of being top all season. So we're all going for a home win now.
Jonathan, the table, like, you
It
might
doesn't matter,
be on a
Eamon, because you'll
periodic
never see
table of
yourself
chemical
as top
elements.
again.
No,
You're Teta out in December.
no, the table doesn't. That's what matters on this. The table doesn't. The table doesn't matter.
To be honest,
It's all
Eamon,
about.
the table doesn't lie. It doesn't lie after 3 games.
No, it
But it
doesn't.
will lie. 8
I
games.
mean, if you want to get a Shoot magazine from 1974 and get the league ladders out and play with them in your sitting room, that's great, right? But it's all about getting points up. It's all about getting into a groove. It's all about getting the
It's all about
performance.
getting
And
momentum.
if you look after those things, right? If you look after those things about what I saw on Saturday, just to go back to it, was a connectivity that looked as if everybody clearly understood what we were doing. And if you keep doing that, you will get more points than you don't. And I definitely look. I think we can all draw the conclusion that we are certainly much better than we were last season. You know.
Yeah, and the big tests are still to come as well. Yeah. I was listening to the stand there, actually. The Eamon Dunphy podcast. He had Liam Brady on Monday reviewing the game. And he was saying about Martin Odegaard, Brady, how he went missing against Spurs and Newcastle, which I thought was a bit unfair, because all the team went missing in those 2 games, being honest. You can't just single out one person, and just because he's captain now is probably an easy snipe to make. But I think Odegaard's a different person already this season. You know, he's a lot more confident, and I think
But he went missing, Jonathan. Missing, Jonathan.
You can see why we're getting a lot more listenership than the stands.
But the Spurs game, the team didn't go missing. There was a whole confluence of events that happened that night with the dodgy penalty. It was a totally dodgy penalty, and the sending off. You know, I think the whole team went missing against Newcastle, but I think against Newcastle we had run out of squad. We'd run out of legs. We'd run out of energy.
100%.
Gabriel and White weren't 100% fit, and we all agreed that night their legs were gone, and you could see it even in the All or Nothing episodes.
We looked like Liverpool yesterday.
I've never seen Arteta so disgusted after that game. I remember him saying in part of, he says, just shut your mouth and say nothing, because these are a disgrace. Because looking at that whole, what I've seen of it, and I'm coming to the end of it now myself. I don't know what you think of it. I've never seen a man so passionate about his job, probably more than Wenger. I think he really wants to do well. Arteta, you know, himself and Edu seem to be making a good partnership there. But a really good documentary on what we don't see week on week. What do you make of it, Carl? To All or Nothing?
I thought it was, for me, there's a lot of standout things I think we learned from it. I think Xhaka came across really well. And like I said, we've got to take this with a pinch of salt because it's been heavily edited. But there's I just found the Josh Kroenke, I thought, came across quite well considering all what we've said about him. He did look, back again, could have been for the cameras. But I think the main thing I took from it was the players cared, and I think part of me always believed that. It just didn't show it on the pitch sometimes. And I think we said at the end of the last podcast towards the end of the season after the Newcastle game that they're going to learn from this. It's a young squad. And part of this hungry start to the season that we've seen could be on the back of what happened towards the end of the season. It's that fire. It's that fire we need to push us on, really. But it was great insight into behind the scenes. Like I say, we've said before, it's going to be heavily edited, so of course there's going to be bits in there that we're not going to see. There's a few clashes. I found I shared a tweet with you, Jonathan, about Lacazette and that young player kicking off in the training ground. They put that in there for some reason. That was a bit odd to watch. But you know what? Cedric stood up for the young lad there, and you see that we can read into that what we do. But overall, the players cared. We have got some leaders there. Xhaka, Holding, even likes of Eddie Nketiah came across, I thought, really well in that documentary. Yeah, and I've also seen it start to finish. I watched a couple of them a few times, but it's hard watch at the end of the season. That last episode was a hard watch. I won't be watching that one again, certainly.
Thanks, I'm due to watch it after this show.
Sorry,
it's like watching the Titanic. You know it's going to go down, but you just still want
to. I think I might take my Radiohead album out instead. Wake from your sleep, but it might be more cheery. We
it's
hope
like that episode of Father Ted, Father Damien in the back of the bus listening to Father Ted.
Yeah, it was
Radiohead, wasn't it?
Tommy Tiernan, the bus driver. Well, I put on a bit of music, so yeah.
The rest of his head down the back. What an I feel like that when I watch Arsenal the last few years. Oh, I love it.
From the episodes I've seen, I don't know whether you've seen it, John. From the episodes I've seen, Carla's right. It's heavily edited and it's TV. It's Hollywood stuff,
I am making a concerted effort to avoid anything to do with it.
Yeah,
absolutely don't want to see it. As Carl said, so much of it's going to be edited, so much is going to be just for the cameras. And in all honesty, as Martin said, I don't want us to fan Titanic again. I was 3 hours of my life and I'll never get back. But
I'll tell you what does come across.
It's that hand going down the window, just me in the Titanic. He's like, oh no, Four Faces gone again.
But I'll tell you what does come across, though, John. I'll tell you what does come clearly across. If you step back from it and get over the disappointment, what does come across is the players buy into Arteta and his gang.
Yeah,
that does come across.
Exactly when the matches are gone.
I watched the Spurs one because I knew they collapsed the season they did it, so I thought it was a great watch because I was just waiting for the collapse and Dele Alli to be eating bags of jelly tots, and all of that nonsense to show what a child he is. But the best one of those things I've seen, I recommend it to anybody, is Sunderland Till I Die.
Oh,
yeah.
It's more supporter based. It is a fantastic piece of work.
Yeah. And real die-hard fans, yeah.
Can I just add one more thing I did take from that documentary is Nicolas Pepe equally contributed to the documentary as he has done for us in an Arsenal shirt. He didn't say a word throughout it all.
Yeah.
I think hopefully his fingers crossed is gone.
There's actually, I don't know if anybody's seen this, there is an interest of Leicester for Pepe. And it might have to do with a swap with Tielemans.
I believe it when I see it.
Yeah, well, it's something like, I think he would be better off going on loan to Nice. Because maybe he gets his game back and we can sell him next year maybe for a bit more money than he's able to sell it now. Because the last thing
on Tielemans at all.
No, but just saying, like with that's the rumors anyway. But I don't want him to go to Leicester and get his mojo and maybe score against us, No, so we'll see anyway what happens with him. But there's a few more tricks and twists and everything is gonna come up now, We are seemingly been reported by the FFP that we.
Keep an eye on us. I'm saying that, but there's loads of clubs around Europe that keep an eye on. So
Yeah.
I'll take that with a pinch of salt as well.
But it's just I don't know. There's a fella on Twitter, the Swiss Rambler. He tried to
he's
explain
good.
it in his 25 tweets why and how we can't buy, who we can buy, and who we not can buy. It's an interesting read, but like it just shows you need very, very good lawyers and very good accountants in this league. And I think that's why Man City are where they are, because they just have exactly that: the best lawyers and the best accountants.
I wouldn't worry about it.
And who's above the Martin in the league?
Yeah. Anyway, just on the side for it.
Yeah. Just also showed out the Father and Balogun, 3 goals now in his first 3 or 4 games, I think, for Reims. They really love him there. And again, the French league, for some reason, the players seem to have settled in, like Tavares at Marseille, Saliba, of course, from Nice and Marseille. Anyone that's gone out there seems to have done.
Yeah.
Well,
he set a record, didn't he? Like the first player to score 3 goals in his Premier, like since 1974 or something.
Is it?
Yeah.
Wow. But there is talent there, isn't there, Eamon? You were quite fond of him.
Oh.
I remember you saying last season as well. There's
but then again, Lacazette scored 3 goals, so like I mean, that just shows you how good the French league is.
Talent. Which one?
Balogun. Yeah.
Oh, Balogun is a huge talent.
Yeah.
He's just underdeveloped. He's undercooked. You know.
Yeah.
But just while you're speaking about the French league, for those of you who watch edited highlights on Arsenal.com, don't you just have to love Jeremy Eliadier? You know, he only played about 50 or 60 games for us, but he's a total gooner, and he's got that. Well, what we need to do is get the ball.
I thought it was actually David
it's a kind of it's hello, you know. It's just brilliant, like, you know. But top man, I tell you what, he's brilliant to listen to. Very good insight into the game. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think his missus was a page 3 model as well. That's why he was the top lad at Arsenal. You know.
His missus is what?
She was a page 3 model.
Jonathan, this is a family show. Arsenal for everyone. We don't.
Not anymore. It is.
Definitely the best pair up front I've seen in a long time.
Tune in next week at 9:01 p.m. Following the British and Irish UK and Ireland watershed.
I'm not sure we get a lot more subscribers after that comment. I'd like to mention as well, myself and Martin, on a cleaner note, we're at off the ball last Wednesday. We met and got pictures with our hero Ian Wright, and also Emma Bourne and Katie McCabe came on video call there. It was a good night, wasn't it, Martin?
Yeah, it was a great night. Like, you know, to get a bit of insight of like of Wright and of Michael Owen, I have to say that it was quite good as well. Came on at the end. And Karen Carney was there, like, and that's especially after that night she had to sit next to Graham Souness. So yeah, it was a very, very good intake. And then again, like, especially with Emma Byrne, because like maybe like a good link to the Arsenal women, because they're coming back now in their first game on the 11th September, you know, against City of all away. So yeah, it was just a great night, and just again a bit of insight into what's going on. And Ray is just like it's just a class act, isn't it? Like he's
a great lad, isn't he?
Yeah.
I heard it played back on. I heard the show on Saturday. They played it back, but I could have sworn. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. I might be hearing voices because we're top of the league. I could have sworn I heard a voice in the background go, "Can you hear me, lads? The next time you hear me."
Yeah, I was sitting next to him. That's true.
The same was said actually when they went on stage. Can you hear me? That's same and off the show for next week, lads. He ruins his...
No, I'm okay next week. Actually, yeah, I'm available for selection, as they say. Always available for selection.
Well, you think you're
never take your place.
I decide that on the night and only on the night. No, it was a great show, I have to say. And how Ian Wright made us to being a pro footballer, it's really rags to riches, really, isn't it? Like, he was in nearly mid-20s before he made it at Arsenal. So to go on to become a legend, absolutely brilliant. Do you remember much from yourself, Karen?
Yeah. There's a really good show actually. I was just about to say, there's a really good show on BT Sport. There's little like 25-minute shows on Premiership legends.
Yeah.
And it's a good one on Ian Wright then. And there's also a documentary writing Rocky as well. And you know, there's some, Ian Wright for me was the first name I had on the back of the shirt, the old Bruges Banana. One of my first shirts I owned. I had a number 8. I was at Ian Wright all in. He's a legend. I'll never forget watching. I had the VHS of all his goals for Arsenal. Watching it with my nan. He had a penalty, and I remember her saying, "I wonder if he's going to score it." It's a collection of his goals. Never forget that. But no, a massive Ian Wright fan. Always have been. Legend.
The closest I ever got to Ian Wright, John, you were probably there yourself. We played Shelbourne in Talca Park.
I was there.
Yeah, and I was only like a small League of Ireland ground, Carl. I was only 3 steps back on the terrace, and it was the Bruised Banana shirt. But one of the things that struck me about him was he was perpetual motion and perpetual. He was just non-stop. He was